What is good, friends, and welcome back. Today I got a special guest with me, Maxanator. Max, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Max and I play Warpath.
Max, I just want to ask you a few questions. First of all, the first time I heard about you, it was before I joined HBR. I saw a few of your game footage, and when I saw your profile, I was amazed about the amount of kills you have. And I thought that you were all killing outs and small players until I saw more of your game footage. And I can see that you're a legit player. You're a true warrior. I mean, can you describe for me your style of play, your gameplay?
Um, so I like to use fast units and I like to pick on weak targets. So when I see like I don't know, weak units, I like to kill them and pick them off.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, the way you choose and pick your targets, I mean, it looks easy, but the way you do it, it seems like very natural. I mean, you have a talent where even when you deal with army groups, how do you deal with those army groups? Can you describe how you approach those and what is your tactic with those army groups?
I mean, current day I use one unit, which is the light tank for most of the time, and it's really hard to approach like any tank group. Sometimes you just find a plane, try and charge your skill or a raven and maybe hit one of the units, try and get like a layer off them. Mainly, you want to try and like find arty groups, find when they're not reloaded, find when they don't have like their skills going, find when they're moving, just keep like trying to pick on them. So that's probably the best way I can deal with army groups now.
And there are so many things that you need to look at once. Your own skill charging, the enemy skill charging. You want to charge either on a plane or a sleeping units. And when somebody is looking for you, I mean, there's so many things that you have to look at once. So does that require practice to you? I mean, how did you got this skill instantly, or you had to practice a lot? Was the learning curve difficult for you?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've always kind of played games, so I just kind of beat this game, and I was like, oh, this works, this doesn't, this works. Like, this is cool, and I don't know, you just kind of play the game more and more, use your strategies, and you're like, oh, okay. And constantly, maybe you'll see like a certain power unit, you know you can tackle it, or you see like an officer on a unit, and you're like, oh, you shouldn't target that. So it kind of is like a trial and error to me, if that makes sense.
And for those who are unaware, the audience, Max is a free to play. Am I wrong? Are you a spender or you're completely free to play?
I mean, I'll be straight up honest, I've spent like $70, but that's it.
Oh, $70. Okay, so you're a high
Yeah,
roller.
got the two battle passes, investment pack, and I think I tried my luck on like two skins or something for $5.
Okay, that's it. So you're not, besides that $70, you didn't spend any more money. So it is possible to be good in this game buying while being free to play.
Oh yeah. Um, it was definitely easier like before, but now if you kind of want to maybe find a good alliance, find like I don't know, find like one unit you can like really use by itself, which is probably like a helicopter, MBT, or light tank, even an arty, you can like roll with it at the back. As long as you focus on that like one unit, you do all your research for that one unit, then yeah, it's definitely doable in my opinion.
Right. And I noticed that you always place your base very far away from the action, and you will roll your unit into the action and feed your group or feed your unit while you lose during battle. So you keep doing that because obviously your base is not strong, so you cannot use your base on your advantage, right?
Yeah, it's like a lot of the time you just have a army group beeline to your base sometimes, and all it takes is like 10 tanks nowadays, even 5. So
Right.
yeah, you have to be really safe, unfortunately, now. But
And does the enemy hunt for you? Do they look for you? Did they write you nasty messages? Do you hurt people's feeling just by playing?
Um, nasty messages. Yo, I mean, hey man, sometimes I just play the game and people are like, yo, like, you rat or whatever. And yeah, they PM me. And
But
I guess, yeah, people will.
are they
They,
cool with it, or they just write you bad messages? Because when they do, it means that you're doing it right.
oh yeah, like, if it's, like, I do get a lot of, or not a lot, but I get a few compliments and, like, questions. And I'm like, oh yeah, yo, like, thank you. But yeah, the nasty messages, bro. I'm sorry, I love it, man.
I love them. I don't feed them, but I appreciate them. I consider this as a compliment. And
Yeah, man.
when I first started to look for you by browsing into HBR Alliance before I joined, I couldn't find you in the top, not top killer, but the top powerful guy. I had to scroll way back down, and I noticed that you had the commander or supreme commander title. So I wasn't sure if what's going on there because usually those titles are awarded to the big and the spenders guy, but you're really not high there, but the results are there. So it was kind of funny to me that such a low power guy have so many kills. So for the players out there who just downloaded the game or been playing for 6 months, it's not impossible to be good while being free to play. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'll say one thing. I have played like other similar games to this, like maybe Rise of Kingdoms. Compared to a lot of these types of games, like this game, there's not like a huge skill gap and all that, or skill cap, I should say. But this game, compared to like other similar games, it definitely requires like some sort of skill and like knowledge. So it's yeah, you can definitely get into it as a free to play.
Awesome. So, Max, the few question is more technical about units. So we know you as a light tanker, a light tank guy, but you also play with the BM. Is it still the case, or you prefer to play with the light tank?
See, I love the BM. It's always been good. With like helicopters now, with having that like mobility, with MBTs getting stronger, with I guess a lot of people will use like German and Russian bombers now. The BM is just kind of harder to use and it does less damage. So I do love that unit. I yeah, there's still potential for it, but I stick to the light tank now since I think it's definitely more useful in the meta.
The I noticed that the light tank and the BM, both of those units, you kind of have to adopt a shoot and scoot tactic. You cannot just stand there. You have to wait for your prey, attack, and then get out of there. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah, man. You lay in the sewers, drag them in there, let them run out, try again.
Awesome. So I want to talk about officer with you, but not only the officer pairing or your preferred officer pairing, but why. The reason so the player out there understand the meta or the mechanic behind the choice of officer for that specific unit, which is the lighting. So I'm gonna go. I want to put them in three categories. So what will be the best officer pairing for the free to play or the beginner player?
Free to play.
Yep.
I'll be honest, I don't exactly remember which officers open after like 180 days and all that. But free to play, hmm. I mean, I guess free to play for beginning, probably Valkyrie and Lady Justice.
Valkyrie and Lady Justice. Why?
So Lady Justice, you have like 30% firepower, decent skill damage. You get more speed, I think, after you activate your skill.
Yep.
Um, and overall, she's just like better to chase troops with, which it's not very common now to chase things since battles are a lot more closed with like bombers and all that.
Hmm.
She's just like really good for damage and just like getting that skill in.
Okay. And how about for the moderate spender, the one that buy a few packs here and there, that wants to expedite the process of awakening new officers? What would be your best pairing and why?
Um, so I would say Dr. Payne. And yes, he costs like, I don't know, $1,000 to max out. But in my opinion, I think all you need for Dr. Payne is to get him like his first skill level 4, level 5. I've had it at level 4 forever, and I've always used him. And it's it's a skill damage. It's just so good. Like just like drop it on someone and back out. And then second officer, I'd say Valkyrie because she's like really good for damage. You have that little 200 skill damage you get like every once in a while. And like I prefer over Lady Justice because as I was saying, it's not really common to chase troops nowadays. So that's what I would say, like maybe a 5-1-1-1 Doctor Payne with a max Valkyrie.
All right. And yeah, as for Professor Payne, he's pretty strong. I mean, and Valkyrie seems to be the go-to officer for any tank or helicopter. I mean, if you don't have her, then you must be working on her as soon as possible. She is very underrated. I mean, on paper, she looks all right, but on the field, I mean, it's amazing, especially when you have to deal with those army groups and every commanders have, or every unit part of that army group have Valkyrie, you just melt instantly. Uh,
Yep.
what about Winter Huntsman?
Winter Huntsman.
Yes.
So okay, Winter Huntsman, he was like the goat for light tanks, especially when Moscow first came out.
Mhm.
But I don't know. As I said like a few times already, it's so hard to like chase units because helicopters are so mobile. Light tanks you can't really catch. And when you try and like go in an open field to chase someone, just bombers, 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 just all over you, and then see it's like hard to chase anyone. And like MBT, you can try and all that, but like that little freeze you get, it in reality just doesn't really help you target RD and get
Okay.
that big damage in.
I asked a question because I noticed for a moment you were using Winter's Huntsman and Lady Justice, I recall, and it's a preferred choice. It's a preferred officer pairing for most of the light tank guy. I think they works well, but if you compare to Professor Payne and Valkyrie, I think that is the go-to if you can afford that officer. And
And
yeah, go ahead.
okay, I just want to add really quickly, he was also like a lot better when you can use like a bunch of other units because like when you can get that stick in, then everyone else gets that damage in. But nowadays, yeah, it's not really the case.
Okay. What did you notice, or I mean, how the 5.0 update affect you the most? Did you notice a huge difference between the two version, and what was the impact on you and any other free-to-play players?
That was the modernization one, right?
Yes.
Oh man. I mean, okay, so that one like had a huge impact of free to play because you can no longer really use like one unit, right? And when it first came out, you had all these people getting like 9.2s and you're there for 8.0 and it's like, "Oh, what do I do?" Basically what it changed is like as a free to play, you can get a 9.2. Like it's quite possible, it takes a while, but basically now Wales, they have a bunch of units. Use a free to play, you can't really have like two useful units at least in like top epic. And it also changed like the kind of the solo play style. Like now I can't really like place my base somewhere random and just like annoy people. Like if I do that, it just takes like 5 tanks and I'm dead. So you kind of really have to stick with your team more, play in the back more, and kind of like be in a little hidey hole.
Before, so for you, it was easier before version 5.0 where you could get more kills. Then version 5.0 came, or update 5.0, and then it was more difficult for you to achieve the same, let's say, fighting machine ranking. Am I correct? Or
Um, like, did I get top 30 in my last few fighting machines for people who have been, I don't know, keeping track, maybe in my alliance? No. Is that partially because of my activity? Yes. But it's way harder. Like, no question, it's like way harder now after 5.0.
yeah. So, and you also use a bomber. Do you still use that unit?
Actually, so bombers are, even though I have a German bomber, I can like never find artillery to target. A lot of the times, like tanks will go around the back, picking off bases, and if your alliance like gets a bunch of planes on that army group, and you just keep like bombing, bombing, bombing that, it's like really good for value. Like you can get so much value out of it,
Mm.
and sometimes you can maybe get like an arty somewhere random and just pick it off. But bombers also got nerfed a lot after they fixed the intercept, either fixed it or like buffed it heavily. So definitely not as useful as before, especially after some recent update around like 3 months ago. But yeah, it's quite useful. I like my bomber.
All right. So the final question, Max, what would be your best advice for a new player? I mean, someone that just joined an alliance and wants to grow as fast as possible, but doesn't have the deep pocket to spend a lot of money on this game. So what would be maybe some tricks, some advice for that new player?
Ooh. Okay, well, it's been like 2 years since I've been a new player. But what I can say, like, a lot of people like the humble playstyle. If you're trying to get like into like an epic team, top of your server, then like really early on, you have to like make yourself known, like show you have some knowledge, maybe I don't know, play some like diplomatic role in your city, and just like grind out that one unit, try and be a part of your team so you can like stay with them. Since I know now it's like a lot more like spend early, spend, join the best alliance. But I don't know, just focused on one unit, try and join the best alliance you can, and I don't know, just kill people, have fun with it, like screw around maybe. I don't know.
I asked this question because, obviously, being part of HBR is a huge asset for you when you are part of an active alliance. Um, and there's a lot of spenders in that alliance. That helps you grow faster than being part of a smaller alliance. However, if you're part of a big alliance, most of the time you will be part of big battles like Legendary 1 or Legendary 2. And if you didn't reach that level yet, you might find it difficult to find your place as a lower tier player in the upper tier battlefield. You know what I'm trying to say here? So
Oh yeah,
is it
yeah.
worth it to be part of a big alliance, or you rather be in a smaller alliance and compete with players more on your level?
That's another thing. That's another hard thing for me to say because I've always been like in the same alliance, trying to compete in the top level in a way. But I don't know, like the style of like fighting only players your level. Like if that's fun, like do it. Like just my opinion, do whatever's like fun to you. If like playing silver with like a bunch of friends that are the same level, like hell yeah, like do that. It's not all about top epic. Like in the end, you're playing this game to have fun. So just screw around, man. Do whatever's like the most fun to you.
All right. Thanks for the advice. This channel is about improving, getting better tactic and such. So that's why I want to have Max with me on this interview. Max is a very knowledgeable player. He knows how to play. Obviously, he's a master with the light tank. If you want to see more combat footage, I'm going to put your in the video description your link to your channel because you do have a channel and you do post videos of your gameplay. So I'm going to link this in my video description. Max, thanks for being part of this interview. I'm going to wish you a good night. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next video, guys.
Bye bye.